how to get your credit going back in the next 30 days. I'm gonna give you some really good tips on what you can do. But before we jump into it, I know a lot of y'all probably see social media and they got a lot of stuff on there. People telling you can fix your whole credit report in 2 weeks, 7 days, 2 days, 2 hours, 2 minutes. I hear a lot of stuff. I see a lot of stuff on there, but the reality of it is that it's gonna take a few months. It didn't take 2 hours or 2 days or 2 weeks to mess your credit up, and it's not gonna take that amount of time to get it fixed. That's just the reality of it. Why is that? Because your credit, when you dispute anything on your credit, rather, it's 30-day cycles. You can call the bureaus yourself to find that out. It's 30-day cycles with everything. So if you dispute something on the first, they got 30 days to investigate it. So how would they be able to get all that off of your credit in 2 weeks or 7 days? Probably not gonna happen, right? So these days we do have other tools we can use with AI, right? Most of you know about ChatGPT, where you could upload your credit report, put in that, and it will generate letters for you. But the thing is now, eOscar is picking up on that stuff. And if you don't know who eOscar is, that's the system that the credit bureaus actually use to run your profiles through. Run your disputes through, right? So you got millions of people using the same letters pretty much. Is it a little bit different for some of them? Yeah, but it's pretty much the same writing, you know. So, but it is hope with using ChatGPT, because you could go in and, for example, say, hey, I want you to write a dispute for this, but I want you to use consumer law, state the law you wanted to use, tell them a little bit about what's going on with that account, and it can make yours a little bit more unique, right? But that still doesn't mean that it's going to be fixed in 2 weeks, 30 days. You may have to go back in for round 2 and 3. But today we're going to talk about how to get your credit actually moving in 30 days. I'm going to give you 2 of the best things you could do to get your credit back going, right? So the first one would be, and it's going to be for you to do. Now, if you're paying somebody to work on your credit, they could do this for you too, but it may not be done in the first 30 days. But the first thing that we overlook is personal information. Personal information is the crucialest thing on your report, right? Most people, or the credit bureaus, when you actually call them, will tell you like, oh, your personal information doesn't hurt your credit, because they want you to keep it on now. I'm gonna give you a good example, right? A lot of you guys probably went to college, right? When you went to college, you was there with your parents. So your parents' addresses on your student loan forms, right? So if you get your parents' old address off of your credit report, then guess what? When you dispute your student loan, it'll be easier for it to come off, because they don't have your parents' information. You see what I'm saying? Or that old address, rather. So what you do is, you need to call all 3 bureaus, let them know the information they got on your credit report needs to be updated, because all of those old addresses, maybe your name misspelled, maybe an employee you work with is not correct, is not accurate. We already know that the bureaus are not really doing real investigations. That's why all 3 have been sued. So we have to do our due diligence as well. They have to update your personal information, right? And you may call and the person you talk to be like, oh, we're gonna update it. You need to call back later on that day, the next day, to verify. You need to get that off first. That's the most crucial thing on your credit report. The next thing you need to do is you need to go in and close out secondary bureaus. Secondary bureaus are where most of your information is stored. So actual companies like Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, they don't actually investigate your situations for real. They go to these larger companies like LexisNexis, Innovis, and they actually get the information from them. Most of you probably don't even know you got an account with them. So what I would suggest next is go to secondary bureaus. LexisNexis is one of the big dogs. Innovis is one of the big dogs. Teletrack is one of the big dogs. Go to their websites and tell them that you want to freeze your information being shared. Once you get all that, all three of them frozen, meaning they can't share your information. Now guess what? When you go to dispute something, then the bureaus can't go straight to them. They're gonna have to actually do some investigations themselves, right? So that's what we want them to be. So now we then got your personal information cleared up, and you then frozen the secondary bureaus. The third thing you need to do is actually dispute it. Now, when we dispute, not only do we want to send dispute letters to the credit bureaus themselves, we also want to send it to the CFPB, right? Now, a lot of people say the FTC as well, but typically that's when it's some kind of identity fraud. Everybody's using that. Everybody, most of y'all know, y'all ain't got no identity fraud. There's no identity fraud. So you kind of doing some illegal stuff. We want to do stuff the legal way. It's okay to do it through the CFPB because we're not saying it's not we're not saying that somebody stole our information or something like that. We just saying that they didn't practice the right laws to put that information on our credit report. Most of you don't know that if you don't get a credit bureau's permission to report something, it shouldn't be reported. What do I mean by that? They illegally obtained the information. It's like bankruptcies. Bankruptcy shouldn't be on your credit report. How did they get that information? Child support. That shouldn't be on your credit report. How did they get that information? So these are things that we need to look into, do your own research on, and see how it is that they obtain that information, and is the way they obtain that information legal or is it illegal? It's the same way with collections. Collection agencies buy portfolios of people's information every day for pennies on the dollar. Then they call you and say, hey, we took over your account. You owe us $1,527 and you need to pay it. You never did business with them. Why are they even contacting you? How did they even get your name and phone number? Did you ever think about that? You had that account with, Macy's, you know? How did y'all pick that up? So these are the things you need to look into, investigate, and get the dispute process going, right? So if you go through all these steps, I can almost guarantee that in your first 30 days, that guess what? You're going to see a difference in your credit report, right? And why do I feel like that? I know that's going to happen. That's because your personal is taken off your report, your secondary bureaus are closed, and you actually wrote the letters the correct way so that you could give them to the bureaus and to the people that you need to dispute negative items with.